Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is episode 8 of Inside the Diamonds. I'm your host, JC, and I'm joined tonight by CJ. How you doing, CJ?
I am fantastic, especially with everything going on right now.
Yeah, I bet you are. Just for you, just for you out there, so you know, right now we're watching. It's 8:30 right now on, let's say, Monday, and right now we're paying attention on what's going on in the top of the eighth inning at Citi Field, where the Chicago Cubs are being you know
No
what,
something. No
against
something.
something by Severino right now, who has looked pretty damn good. The Cubs haven't put a lot of decent at bats together. They just had Michael Busch walk, but it's 1-0 Mets. Brandon Nimmo actually led the game off with a home run, and that's been about it. So it's 1-0 Mets. Top of the eighth, runner on first, and we're gonna keep an eye on that right now. So I got that game on my phone up above, paying attention to that, and perhaps for the second time in our podcast recording history, we could potentially see a second one, which would be pretty unique. This time we're watching it, but I just want to kind of throw that out there that is kind of may distract us a little. There it go. Yeah, there it goes. Dansby Swanson. So never mind.
And
That
we cursed it. The no
we
something.
did. Hey, I'm okay. I'm okay with that right now. Being rooting for the Cubs in this one. I'm good with that. So Severino on a plus side, I thought he looked really, really good this spring. Looked like shit. His first first start against the Brewers, who were red hot to start the year. But ever since, he's looked pretty damn well. And this Mets team just got JD Martinez over the weekend called up, and they've been playing good baseball. Mark Vientos had the game winner yesterday. I believe it was yesterday.
That ball
Home
was
run.
pitched on.
He, yeah, that was a line drive shot that he just drove the fuck out of,
When he
which
hit it,
I
I was
liked
like,
him and
I didn't think that was out when he hit it. I thought it was just gonna be a routine fly ball center, and then all of a sudden it's just
crushed
like
it.
going.
Just laced it. But I liked him this spring too, and I was a little shocked, especially after the signing of Martinez and knowing he was going down to or going to Syracuse to get his spring training in, if you will, that he didn't stay up with the club as like a DH type. I know he can play third base as I believe he's left-handed. Um, so to kind of alternate and kind of maybe perhaps spell Beatty, but um, yeah, this Mets team isn't as bad. It hasn't been playing as bad as of late, and that's only just recency bias right now with what's going on or what was going on in New York. So speaking of, I want to jump right into it and kind of speed things up. What were your biggest takeaways from this past week? I know you've got a lot that you've got to talk about, but what was some of your biggest takeaways?
So the first one was a little surprising this weekend. Last week, I'm going to start with Chicago White Sox. Last
Yeah.
week they were swept by the Minnesota Twins in a 4-game series,
Yep.
outscored 25-11. And so, the Twins are the Twins. Like, they got off slow. They're fourth in the American League Central. Correa's on the injured list. And
He's
then all of
coming
a sudden,
back.
yeah, he's not back
Just,
yet, though.
no, I think they're going to call him up this week, is what I heard. Red.
But then this weekend, they go to Tampa. Face Tampa. And I was like, oh, they might be lucky to win one. No, they
Yeah.
come out and sweep the Rays, outscoring them 21-13. And the Rays don't look good. They don't look good.
No.
I will take credit for that, by the way. My preseason prediction, I said the Rays aren't going to be as good as everybody thinks they are. They don't look it so far. But
No, they're a strange team to me. Just they're always a strange team to me because they somehow are either at the very top or right at the very bottom, and they get red hot and they're tough to figure out. But right now, you're right. They do not look good, and they don't have Josh Lowe, who's still out there with an oblique that's missing, and their pitching has not been great. I mean, granted, they're missing a shit ton of arms. Zach Eflin's been all right, but they don't really have the offense. They don't have that power bat. Not a lot going right for them right now. Obviously, if you get swept by the White Sox, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the White Sox are back or anything. I'm just saying that was the most surprising thing from the weekend was taking all three games against the Rays. And like I said, the Rays aren't good, but the White Sox are very not good.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest surprise. Number two, I had on my list. Now, who had this on their bingo card to end the month of April? Now, granted, there is one more day, so this could
Yeah.
change. I don't think actually any of them are pitching tomorrow. But
No.
who had your American League American League ERA leaders being Jose Barrios, Cutter Crawford, and Tanner Houck? Did I or did I not say it in the preview
Mm-hmm.
episode for the American League? Andrew Bailey is going to have an effect on this rotation.
You've
And
been big on Cutter though for as long as I've known you and spoke about the Red Sox. You've been big on Cutter.
I've always said I thought he was the best number five or one of the best number five in a rotation starters.
Yeah.
I'm not saying top five overall. I'm saying in a rotation, you're 1 through 5. He was the number five guy, especially if you went and signed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He was the best number five guy going into this year, I thought. And I like Tanner Houck. I've always liked Tanner Houck. I think he reminds me of Chris Sale with his arm delivery,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me nervous for an injury in the future, especially with all this elbow stuff. But from what I've heard, and I'm not going to go into the dimensions because I can't remember them, but his slider is falling off more than it ever has. His splitter is dropping more than it ever has. And the problem is it's starting right in the zone and it's
Yeah.
going out and everybody's chasing it. So, I mean, I don't know I don't know as a hitter if you can adapt to that. And so I think that dominance that he's posted this year is
Yeah.
going to continue. I think he is proving that he could very well be a top of the line starter. I'm not going to say ace. I'm not giving that label out. But he could be a top of the line starter if he continues this and keeps working on what he's got. And from what he's done so far, I don't see how he can't be. But the big one I wanted to touch on was Jose Barrios.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy that came over from Minnesota a couple of years ago. He, was expected to be a top of the line starter. Then they went and signed Kevin. I believe Kevin Gausman came after he got there.
Yeah, I
And
believe so.
Kevin Gausman was expected to be the ace of that staff. But Barrios this season, the start, he looks good. A 1.23 ERA. Let me give you the numbers on the three of them with the ERAs. Crawford, by the way, went in with an 0.66 last weekend, got lit
Yeah.
up. Didn't have his best stuff. I mean, you could see that from the first inning. So Barrios has a 1.23 ERA. Crawford has a 1.35. Tanner Houck has a 1.60. Now,
For those of you who don't know, the last two are two Red Sox pitchers.
and again, I'm not being biased. I'm looking at the stats,
No,
and that's
stats.
the two. I mean, who would have thought Shota would have had the ERA he has for the Cubs?
Yeah.
And, he leads the National League. Funny, though, he doesn't show up on the stats page on MLB.com when you pull it up.
Really?
I think it's because there's a certain quota to meet, and I think they're at that
Okay.
point in the season. He doesn't have enough starts to meet the quota. Because I think it does go by qualified players,
Yeah.
but then you hit all players, and now you're getting bullpen guys and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So you got to sort it out. But when I was doing my Red Sox series preview over the weekend, because they played the Cubs,
Yeah.
Imanaga didn't show up, and that's what tipped me off to it. I was like, huh, he's got a very low ERA. Even when you look up on like ESPN, same thing. Like you go pull up a series preview, like
Yeah.
the first game of a series or whatever.
He's right there.
He's not there.
He's not.
So you go to
Huh.
pitching and you go to ERA and it says somebody else from the Cubs. And I was like, Imanaga's got a point. I think it was what was it 0.84 going into the
Yeah.
Red Sox game. Didn't show up. It was somebody else. And I was like, Imanaga has a better ERA. How is it not showing up? So I included it in my series preview for that one, but I think
Yeah.
it's a quota issue. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you had those three on your bingo card having the best ERA in the American League going into this year, kudos to you, because I thought Barrios was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be that good. And
I really liked him. I don't mean to cut you off. I really liked him when he left Minnesota. I didn't like him going to Toronto, being an Red Sox supporter. But I think this is the best he's looked so far in that Blue Jays uniform.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, something clicked, and he's
Yeah.
just on it. I mean, who knows if that continues? He had a rough start against the Royals last week. I believe he's facing them. Oh, my series preview came out today too. I should know this off the top of my head. I believe he's got them again on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So that'll be the start to watch for him. If he's on, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna, we'll flip the count. I mean, it's May 1st, so April he's
Yeah.
gonna end with one of the best ERAs in the month. But I mean, it goes to the question of one of these three, or Tarek Skubal are gonna be the pitcher of the month. I think for April, they
Yeah.
should be at least.
Pretty. They've got a good argument right now.
I mean, Skubal's just been as dominant. I mean, his
Yeah.
ERA is not there, but it's close. I think he might be in the top like 10 for American
Yeah.
League. I think it's 1.84 off the top of my head. I'm not pulling it up right now, but I think it's 1.84.
He's been impressive. But
He
I
really,
mean, when you and I didn't, I looked at this briefly. I didn't dive into those numbers that you sent over, but you've been harping on this since we've started talking, Andrew Bailey. And you can't deny it right now, with especially with these two arms. Hulk in that complete game he threw was lights out. The most impressive thing for me was Cutter's start against Pittsburgh, where he struggled to get through 6 innings, but he battled. How many pitchers will end up in those situations coming out and not being able to get the outs that he needs to extend his outing?
my favorite moment from that series was Cora coming out. I think it was the bottom of the sixth with 2 outs, and he said, "This is your last batter. Go get him." And Crawford
Yeah.
unloaded the tank, and he looked good in that last batter.
Yeah.
The other thing, it will come out tomorrow. My series preview: the Red Sox are facing the Giants for 3 games this week.
Ooh, that'll be good.
I'm excited for it. I will be there tomorrow. It'll be Logan Webb versus Cooper Criswell. Um, the one thing I thought was interesting, though, and I'm pulling it up right now because I want to have the stats here. So before joining the Red Sox, Andrew Bailey was the pitching coach of the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, when I was putting all the stats in for the like where they rank or whatever, entering, I did it for today, so it's not updated for tomorrow because things will change. But the Giants, without Andrew Bailey now, are in the bottom of the league, lower half of the league in every pitching category. WHIP, ERA, and strikeouts. They're in the bottom half. One of them, they're 16th, but the other two, they're in the 20s. So, I go back to, is that the Andrew Bailey effect? He's not there.
Yeah.
I also have seen things, and I don't know if we've said it on here, but we've talked about this, where my bold prediction is Alex Cora is going to be the manager of the Dodgers if they don't win the World Series next year.
Yeah.
Is Andrew Bailey the manager of the Red Sox next year? Because if we go back to that Oakland series to start the year, there was a
Yes.
game where I believe the runner would have been a pitcher, and Bailey was the one that said to Cora, "That can't happen. You can pull this off." And
Yeah.
Cora didn't know that rule. So Andrew Bailey knows those rules too. Like, he's not just a pitching guy. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just pointing that out. But I'm big on Andrew Bailey. I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
I liked what he did with Logan Webb. You can take it away for a minute. I want to pull up Logan Webb's numbers on Baseball Reference and see how he's progressed.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've harped on it, and I think it's easy to kind of just look at these teams. And you mentioned Logan Webb. Logan Webb's always been a decent pitcher, but something just clicked. And for the average fan, just looking at it and not paying attention to who's there and maybe not giving credit where credit's due, you just assume that with age, veterans around him, that he just figured something out and maybe picked up another pitch or picked up a different arm angle. But, oftentimes what that is just collaboration between someone in the bullpen or the pitching coach. And who better to have than a closer who only was there to get 3 outs, right? And this guy, but he had to know, here's the other thing. He had to know, as a closer, you have to know every batter that you could face, right? It's not like the starters who are going to learn and pick things up. They don't have to pay as close attention because they're going to see them 2-3 times in an outing. The closer has to know at detail, at length, who they're facing, what they need to throw, where they like it. and know it from top to bottom because they're only going to maybe see him once, but they have to know, right? So in regards to Bailey's intelligence that you were just saying, knowing the rules and all this, I think that it's an interesting aspect to look at, some of these stats and see how the rest of this year goes. But I like Andrew Bailey. I liked him when he was a pitcher for the A's, and then when he came over to Boston. I think it's interesting. I always like to see catchers become managers. I mentioned Stephen Vogt out there with the Cleveland Guardians. I think Veritek, if he ever wants to, would be great. But I think that's another dynamic out in the bullpen. You've got Veritek that's out there working with people. You've got Andrew Bailey who threw to Veritek, I believe, unless I'm totally off base here. I don't know if Bailey was there with Veritek throwing.
I believe he was.
But it's just an interesting dynamic. The minds of the pitchers, especially a closer, and then a catcher, and how they succeed or how successful they are as managers and in their thought process. You have to really be a cerebral player to become a good manager. And I think Andrew Bailey being a head coach is not far fetched. As I just see an error made by the Cubs that make me want to choke on my chew, but
So, perfect example. I pulled up Logan Webb's numbers, and
yep.
2019 was his first season with the Giants. He made 8 starts. He went 2-3 with a 5.22 ERA.
Okay.
Andrew Bailey got there in 2020, and now again, Andrew Bailey is not making his stamp of approval yet in 2020. Nope. 3-4, 13 appearances, 11 of those starts. Okay. Now let's go to 2021 with Andrew Bailey. 11-3 in 27 appearances, 26 starts with a 3.03 ERA.
Yeah.
2022, 32 starts, 15-9 with a 2.90 ERA. Last season with Andrew Bailey, the Giants weren't great. 11-13 in 33 starts, but still he had a 3.25 ERA.
Yeah.
Finished second in the Cy Young Award voting last year.
Yeah.
Finished 11th in 2022, and 2022 was his better season.
Yeah.
So,
it'd be interesting. Yeah, again, I'm cutting you off, but it'd be very interesting to go back in Baseball Savant, look up Bailey, look at his best pitches, and see if he has any of these guys that he's worked with that have all of a sudden started either using more or getting more strikes or avoiding. That would be a much deeper dive to look to see where his impact's coming from. But that was something when you're going through those numbers to me, and again, a lot of my reaction is to things that you make me think of, and that would be something interesting to look into in regards, okay, what is the Andrew Bailey effect?
Even better one. I just pulled it up because it popped in my head while we were talking. Yep. Kevin Gausman.
Mm-hmm.
His last season before he became a free agent was 2021.
Yep.
He made 33 starts, had a 2.81 ERA, which is his lowest of his career.
Yep.
Also was 14-6, which before his time with the Blue Jays, which is where he is now,
yeah,
was the only season he finished above 500 as a starting pitcher.
No shit.
So did Andrew Bailey teach him something and got him into that mode, and now here we are, got him paid.
He's a big sinker ball pitcher, if I'm not mistaken.
And if you look at the Red Sox, look at what they're throwing. They're throwing sweepers, sliders, splitters, sinkers,
keeping it down.
They're going away from the fastball, and they're going more off speed.
They want them to top it and hit it into the ground, let the defense do their job.
So the numbers are there. I mean, that's why I was so big on him, as I've looked into all of this, where I think he is a pitching guru, which is not somebody you'd expect to be a pitching guru. Like, he's not a Randy Johnson, a Pedro. Like, he's a reliever, but he knows what he's doing. I mean, and that's evident with what the Red Sox staff. I believe they're still maybe they're in the top 3 of almost most of the pitching categories. WHIP, I think they're up in the top 3. ERA, I believe they're still in the top 2. Strikeouts, they've dipped off. I think they're 10th now in strikeouts, and that's including the bullpen. Like, that's not just starters. So there's the effect of Andrew Bailey to everybody.
No, that's interesting. I mean, I don't think we intended on spending that much, and I don't mean to steer you in direction because I know, these are your thoughts, but that when you speak about that, those are These are all things that are real and appear to be real at this moment. So, so with those are three impressive, as you mentioned, potential definitely have a big argument for April pitcher of the month along with Scooble. But what else? What else caught your eye this past week?
The Atlanta Braves, and they're 19-7 entering play tonight. I don't think they actually play tonight, but they're 19-7 right now, and that's despite their reigning MVP's slow start. I
Mm-hmm.
think he just hit his first home run maybe last week, if not the week before, but he still only has one.
Yeah.
And I came out, I don't know if you read it, but I asked you to share it. And I mentioned about how last year he had a 40-70 season. And I
Yep.
mentioned Ellie De La Cruz potentially having a 30-80. If you haven't seen it, it's on the website.
Yep.
Ellie De La Cruz is on pace to do something we've never seen before and something you should check out. But I don't want to sidetrack from the Braves to the Reds here. Um, but my biggest takeaway, and on top of all of that, is I had them to, I don't remember if I had them off the top of my head to win the World Series, but I know they at least were in the World Series.
Yep.
And that was a big part behind their pitching with Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Chris Sale, Charlie Morton, and those were the four I talked about.
Yep.
The one name I didn't talk about, who's the number 5 starter, is Ronaldo Lopez, and he's made 5 starts. He's 2-0 with a 0.72 ERA, and sorry, 4 starts with a 0.88 WHIP and 24 strikeouts.
What a difference when you don't have to go out and like in a mindset wise, if you have an offense that can support 3, 4 runs, maybe 5 a game, you don't have to be perfect and you can just fucking pitch.
And
The
you're
guy's
doing it
got
without
talent.
your best pitcher,
Yeah.
and your best hitter is not even getting hot yet,
Which
which
is
just
scary.
again goes back to me, like, this team is just so deep and so talented.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I picked them to win. Like, again, we're gonna probably run into something with them where I like the Braves. I've always liked the Braves. Again, I grew up with them on TBS every day. Like,
Yeah.
they were always on TBS. But it's back to, like, if you're not a big fan of that team, like they're not your number one team, you get tired of seeing teams win. People got
Yeah.
tired of the Yankees in the 90s. People got tired of the Astros, a couple of years ago, and we'll get into them later. But, you know, that's the thing with the Braves, though, is it's good. I said Braves Orioles for the World Series this year, and I'm wearing an Orioles hat now. I know as a Red Sox fan, it's probably a bad idea, but they're playing the Yankees, and I can't stand the Yankees, and so Red Sox aren't playing, Tigers aren't playing, so I went with a different hat.
Yep.
Um, but we're gonna run to a point, I think, in a couple of years where we have the potential, or even this year, starting this year, we have the potential where every World Series for the next 3 to 4 years could be Orioles Braves.
Oh
That's
God.
just how good those two teams are, and they lock up the young talent. They get, like, look at what the Braves did. They locked up Acuna. They
Yeah.
locked up Albies. They locked
Yep.
up Austin Riley to a team friendly deal, but it's still good money. They Michael Harris locked up. Like, they
Those
just
are good to see though.
right. It's good.
The team friendly deals are good to see, especially after the bullshit we saw out in LA. Not bullshit, but like the creative way. I mean,
That team. I'm assuming you're talking about the Angels of the LA, or no,
no, I'm talking
the
of
Dodgers
The
throwing all the money.
Dodgers.
Yeah. Okay.
Granted, Otani's deal was probably orchestrated by his interpreter, who knew he was going to need more money further
Yeah.
down the line.
Well, I don't think he liked the idea of we're gonna push it down the line more.
Yeah, no, I need that now. How about a bigger signing bonus?
Yeah.
I have a big bet on that. What a
But
fucking debacle.
I mean, Acuna this year isn't hitting bad. I mean, it's nothing. I'm not saying he's
Just
having
hasn't slugged.
he's not hitting the long ball. I mean, we saw 30 bombs from him last year. Well, maybe actually more. I think he was close to 40.
Yeah.
He's only got one, and he's played in 26 games. He's got one. His RBIs, he's got 6. Like, that's not what you expect from him. And I'm a big Ronald Acuna fan. I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying he's off to a slow start.
How many runs does he have scored though? That because he hits leadoff most of the time for them. That to me is, that almost shows a little bit RBI wise shows a little bit more of a struggles at the bottom of the order than it does or success at the bottom. Who you had Darno hitting those home runs, so
He does have 26 runs scored, and
Okay.
he has 11 stolen bases. So like he's not, like I said, he's not struggling as a hitter. It's just along the lines of he's not the pop bat that you're used to seeing from Acuna to start the year.
Yeah.
You said the same thing. I think it was 2-3 weeks ago about Julio Rodriguez. Same
Yeah.
thing. I mean, there was a thing I saw a graphic from MLB.com or MLB Network or something where it was like who hits the first home run, and it was names you don't think you're normally going
Yeah.
to see on that list. And that's just, I mean, he's getting on base. I mean, he's got a 750 in OPS, a 382 on base, and a 333 slugging. Like he's not hitting bad, but he's just not producing the home runs that you expect from
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
And that's where his RBIs would come from right now, because I think if you look at it, and this is just eyeball test in regards to seeing what's happened with the rest of that team, I don't know if he's had a whole bunch of opportunities with guys in scoring position. And that would, that could be, that's an assumption, but it's going to be impressive when we're here talking in September and he ends up with 35 home runs and 65, 70 stolen bases, and
And that's
April he
coming.
did nothing. Oh
That's
yeah.
coming. I mean, like I said, oh, by the way, Correa is back tonight.
Okay.
Going back to what
So
you said earlier.
I
So he's
did
back
read
tonight.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not out of the question. He does what he did last year. It's just you're not used to seeing it. And like I said, they're doing it. They are 19-7 entering play tonight with the best record in baseball, and your best player isn't
Get the
doing that.
fuck out. Get out. Chris Morel just went deep for the Cubs.
Love that.
Take the lead 3-1 in the top of the ninth.
The other one,
Woo.
and this is going to pain us as Red Sox fans, Chris Sale. 5 starts, 3-1 with a 3.69 ERA, and under 1 WHIP with 33 strikeouts. Again, I said it in my prediction that they're going to go as far as Chris Sale stays healthy.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, they're my pick to be in the World Series, if not win it. And to feed into that, we're going to get a great preview of what this team is this weekend.
Yeah.
They're going to get the Dodgers for 3 games. Now, the Dodgers are not going to see Sale. Sale goes, and this is a good week for the Braves. They get the Mariners for 3, and they get the Dodgers for 3. And so Sale's going, I think it's Wednesday. I think it is 3. Oh, no. Actually, I don't think they play tonight. So I think it's Thursday. It's going to be Sale on Thursday.
Okay.
So it's Charlie Morton versus Tyler Glasnow Friday. Saturday is Bryce Elder. I put Michael Grove in what I sent you because he was the opener for the Dodgers the other day. And then it's Fried versus Paxton. So, I mean, that's 3 arms right there besides the 2 I named of Lopez and Sale that I want to see against the Dodgers lineup. Can you guys get there? Fried, last time I think we talked, went that night. I think he went 9-inning complete game shutout.
Yeah.
So, can Fried do that against the Dodgers? I want to see it. I want to look now. Is that Sunday Night Baseball?
I would assume so.
Nope.
It's not. It must be a 4:10. Is it in LA?
It is in. Where is it? It's in LA. 4:10.
4:10 game.
Sunday Night Baseball is Giants Phillies.
That's a missed opportunity.
I agree because you're gonna get, like I just said, it's Fried versus Paxton. Paxton is not pitching bad.
No.
So it's not a bad matchup, and it's not, I mean, granted, this all comes out before the season. So are they sitting there going, we can give every Sunday Night Baseball game to the Dodgers, we give every Sunday Night Baseball game to the Braves.
Correct.
Let's just not overdo this. But I think it's a missed opportunity for a series that's going to be really good with 2 teams that everybody has finishing 1 and 2 in the National League.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dodgers
potentially to play for the World Series.
Yeah.
That first game will be interesting. Glasnow's one against that lineup that's interesting, and then on the back end of that series is Fried versus the Dodgers lineup. It's a great test and great, it's going to be a great series to watch and pay attention to because both high-powered offenses, but both have great pitching as well.
Yep. It's going to be a fun matchup. And again, I mean, the Dodgers still aren't at full strength.
No.
We haven't, Clayton Kershaw's still out. I don't think, has Buehler come back yet?
No.
So there's 2 big arms. I mean, I said it when we did our preview that Paxton's going to feed right into Kershaw.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just replacing. I mean Kershaw's better, so it's just
What if he's
replacing.
healthy? I mean, I don't want to sidetrack you, but what if he's healthy? There goes Grove to the bullpen. Now you've got Paxton and Kershaw right there at 4-5.
Or there goes Gavin Stone back to AAA if he's not
Yeah.
already there.
I mean,
I haven't followed the Dodgers as much because they're the Dodgers and I think they're just as good as everybody thinks. So I haven't been like, oh, the Dodgers.
their
You know,
depth is in their pitching, in the minors, at least that is ready to contribute right now. Where so as the Braves have so much depth too. So this will be a very interesting early May series to see what we see from both teams, pitching lineups, how they go. It'll give us a good preview of potentially what's to come in October. It'll be a fun one to watch.
here's my bold prediction for the weekend.
All right, let's hear it.
Acuna gets hot and hits 2 home runs this weekend.
Geez, I would not be surprised if we see him go hitless against Glass now and hit one off of Grove if he's to start, and then lefty being Paxton. Paxton's got that history of keeping the ball up a little. He's a power pitcher. Acuna is going to catch one up in the zone and just drill it up, 12 rows up in left field.
And
He
it's in
could
LA.
I can easily see him hitting two, be in game. I'll be interested to see how he faces Glass now, but definitely in game 2, game 3, especially against Paxton, I think he will light Paxton up.
I might take it on Sunday Night Baseball. Leadoff home run if he's batting leadoff.
Ooh, that's a tough one on yeah. It'd be interesting to see what the odds are because I mean that's going to be a fun one to watch. Now I can't wait until next week to kind of recap that one where we've already addressed it a little bit, talk about that series, and then also talk a little bit about the Yankees Orioles series because that's the other one on the American League side. That's a big series preview of the top 2 teams in the American League East. Which tonight I don't know what the score is now, but I know
2-0, top 9. Yankees got a guy on second with 1 out.
is it
No,
Kimbrel?
it's Colombe.
Okay. I was gonna say they have a lot of nerve going back to Kimbrel, but yeah, that there'll be 2 interesting series for us to recap next week when we meet up on Monday next week.
I was going to make a bold prediction saying if the Braves win that series, I'll wear a Braves hat next Monday, but the Tigers play, so that ain't happening.
Yeah.
And the Braves
Hector
don't play anyways.
Nias is in for the close.
The Braves get the Red Sox next week, so that ain't happening even more so.
Yeah, you'll be torn. No, interesting that the Cubs brought in Hector Nearest to close the game out against the Mets. That's interesting with Edelzai being their named closer to start the year, but has struggled. So
I saw he was done out of the role. I think I saw that last Thursday.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because I think at that point he'd given up 4 home runs in 4 innings
awful.
or something like that.
Awful.
So I saw Council said he's all done. So.
All right. So anything more about the Braves Dodgers series?
Nope. That is about it. I'm excited for that series. It's probably what I'm going to watch on my little TV, although it all depends on what happens with the Bruins and Celtics because that changes everything with the Red Sox as well.
A Bruins series is over tomorrow, so you'll be freed up. All right then. Well, with that said, we're at the time now. We've been talking about this for the past few weeks, every episode. If you like baseball, you're looking to join our party and just kind of team up with us and talk baseball, write baseball. If you've got a favorite team, reach out to us on the website, insidethediamonds.com/join us. Let us know who your team is or a area you live in or what you're interested in covering. Reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking. We still have some teams that have some gaps that need some coverage or even extra coverage. And let us know what you're thinking. And we can kind of talk you through what we have available, what we're looking for, and what the needs and demands are so that you can be part of this. It's pretty laid back. We're trying to put out as much content as we can everything from roster moves to opinion pieces to series previews and series recaps, and talking about some of the prospects too that we have in the top 100 that CJ put together. So if you're interested in joining us, like I mentioned, go to the website insidethediamonds.com/join us and let us know what you're thinking. Or and if you don't want to go to the website, just reach out to the us on Facebook, Inside the Diamonds, private message, DM, let us know what you're thinking, and CJ can get it in touch with you and kind of give you a rundown of what we're looking for and what we do here. So always looking to add more people with baseball minds to kind of add to the content. All right, CJ. So what else? I know you had 8 total. We've gotten through 3. What was number 4?
We had 9 actually. I added one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So the fourth one was one you actually want to talk about as well. I want to go to the Marlins and the Nationals.
What a shit show.
My biggest interesting one was yesterday,
Yeah.
where they went up 7-0 in the first 2 innings.
Yep.
And then, most times you would sit there and good baseball team, that's the game. I'm glad I tuned in for this. No, not the Marlins. No. Not that dumpster fire. Forget that.
It was the Nationals. It was the fuck. Not that the Nationals are horrible because they've got some young talent, but Jesus. 7-0.
The Nationals came out of nowhere and put up 5 in the fourth to make it a 7-5 game. And then in the fifth, put up 4 more just to make it 9-7. Then just for a little insurance, I had 1 in the sixth. The Marlins did come back, make it a better ball game in the seventh with 2 more runs to make it 10-9, and then the Nationals put away in the eighth with 2 more runs, and the Nationals came out on top. And I saw on Twitter people were commenting with the 7-0 lead. Yeah, we'll find a way to blow this.
They've lost all hope. They've now, even though they have 6 wins and so do the White Sox, they actually physically have the worst record in baseball. Just because they've played more games and they've got more losses than the White Sox. It is sad. Now, with all that said, Luzardo's out. Yuri Perez is out. Basically anything that they have is gone. And it's sad for me because, the Marlins are a team that in their history, what they do, they pile up and they make a run deep into the playoffs, whether it be the World Series or whatever, then they sell everything off. They have some nice pieces. And I think if Perez, you think about who's injured, right? Sandy Alcantara, you've got Luzardo, and you got Perez that I can think of just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
They're not horrible in the field. I'm not a huge fan of what, other pieces. They've got Chaz Chisholm. They've got Luis Arraez, and they've got Jake Berger.
Tim Anderson's not a bad one. Josh Bell.
No, they've got some talent, but it just is. It all shows you that if you can't pitch, you don't have the pitching. You're not going to go very far. You can only put up so many runs.
When you come into a season with AJ Puck as your number 2, and
he was your closer. How many saves did he have from last year?
He was your closer last year, and he's your number 2 starter entering the season. You got a problem. And why they didn't sell off, as Red Sox fans, we were all calling for Jesus Luzardo. Why you didn't sell off? Granted, did you expect to lose Perez?
No.
And Edward Cabrera. And, it was the one thing I will say about them. It was nice. I forget what day it was, but it was nice to see Sixto Sanchez make his return to the mound for the first time since 2020. And from what I saw, I don't think he actually looked bad.
No.
I don't remember off the top of my head what day he pitched and how bad it actually was. But, there's something there. They do have the pitching. It's just everybody's hurt. Like, you're dealing with everybody being out. I'm trying to pull up what day it was he pitched. I thought it was.
He was the top prospect for the Phillies that everyone was talking highly of. He didn't really pan out in Philadelphia. And I forget, he was part of that JT Realmuto trade, along with Alfaro. And then he's been hurt, I think, pretty much ever since. And they've got between Cabrera, Perez, Luzardo, and then Sandy Alcantara, they've got, if everyone was healthy, and pitching the way they could, they've got probably one of the more talented,
Mm-hmm.
pure talent potential, one of the better younger pitching staffs in the National League.
Ryan Weathers is good too. He's pitched well lately. And I was
Yep.
wrong. Sixto actually didn't pitch well. He faced the Braves.
Oh,
He gave up 3 runs
welcome
in two and
back.
2/3, 5 hits, three Ks and 1 walk. So
The fucking Cubs are going to blow this game. God damn it. It's all right. Two runner on second, runner on first, one out. Nearest is lost DJ Stewart. Nope,
they got to
nope.
figure out a
2-1.
closer. Make
Oh
Ben Brown the
God.
closer.
It's pretty bad right now, but that's that. Yeah, the Marlins right now, unfortunately, due to their pitching injuries situations, I think it won't be too long. The two big names that I see, Chisholm's not going anywhere, but I did an article earlier for the Reds in regards to a cheap power bat at third to kind of solve some of their issues there. Jake Berger and could be moved eventually, and then Luis Arias. Both have decent contracts. Berger's on a 1-year deal under $1 million, so it's going to be fairly cheap for someone to grab if they're looking for a power right-hand bat. But unfortunately, the Marlins just have too many injuries right now, and I don't even know where Luzardo is going to end up. With
Yeah.
this injury he's got. So they say it shouldn't be long term, but how often do you hear that? They come back, make 1-2 starts, and then not the same, and then they're done for a little bit longer or the
He threw
year.
today, I believe. I think he was throwing today.
Okay, well, hopefully he makes a healthy return because that's good. He's a good arm, and I do think he's a trade piece too. Unfortunately, given the fact of what they're doing, so yeah, the Marlins are a mess. That was just something to me going up against the Nationals. Again, the Nationals aren't horrible, but to piss embarrassing. Which leads us right into this other shit show, the Chicago Cubs.
Well, I wrote when they were facing the Red Sox that, they were one of the hottest teams at that point. They had won 5 of their last 7, and then, they swept the Astros coming into the series, and they won Friday night to go 6 of their last 8. And then all of a sudden, the Red Sox decided to, have the lineup wake up a little bit, put up 17 on them.
Holy fuck.
On Saturday.
I'm glad you were there, not me.
Yeah, I was having a great time, especially with all the Cubs fans sitting around me. The only thing I was hoping for was Joely Rodriguez to come into the game.
Oh.
And then last night, I don't know if anybody watched that's listening to this, but that was a tough play by Dansby. I mean, that should have been, I've heard people say, why didn't Duran still second? Well, then they walked Devers and it's first and second, nobody out with O'Neill, whatever. Ends up being Devers at first, Duran at third, and Duran's your best base runner, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was that fly ball to Dansby. Granted, I don't know what Duran was doing halfway down the line. He should have been at third, at least trying to tag. That ball shouldn't have been tried to be caught by Dansby.
That's Ian Happ's all day long. Should have been.
But he was playing at the wall for a double, which, again, the guy's at third. I don't know why you're playing for a double.
Yeah.
So, double, you lose the game.
Yeah.
So, I think it was a missed defensive alignment. The Red Sox come out on top. They take 2 or 3 from the Cubs. And the Cubs seem like they might have cooled off, except for right now, unless they blow this game with a 1-2 count, 2 outs in the 9th inning. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting pitch. But the Cubs were, they looked good going into the Red Sox series, and all of a sudden they seem to have cooled off in that weekend, and then now they're back. Seem like they're going to do what they're going to do. But
that's their bats this year. Their bats have done that. Watching every single game they've had this year, their bats cool off. And the good news is Justin Steele is going to be making a rehab start, I believe, Wednesday down at Iowa. They did just win, thank God, 3-1 against the Mets to open the series, thanks to Morel's home run. But yeah, they are they still have a good chunk of their lineup, the Cubs, that isn't hitting. Swanson's not doing real well hitting. I think he's hitting under 2. He's hitting, or he was opening the day at 238. Horner's not really hitting. He was starting against the Astros, didn't do much against the Cubs, and Bellinger's out. So up the middle, they're not really supporting the team the way they can. They've gotten some timely hitting like they did tonight, but they've yet almost like Acuna, that a lot of their players have not yet warmed up. And in order for them to do what I picked them to do and win the Central, they're going to need to get everyone firing on all cylinders because their pitching has not been horrible. And they stand to get Steele back. So it'll be interesting. That was a very disappointing weekend, other than, Saturday, Sunday against the Red Sox, against a team on paper and the way they've been playing. The Cubs should have taken that series.
Yeah, except for Saturday. Saturday was just
Well, no, Saturday, when you have to have two position players pitch, I mean, that was a 17-0
the Red Sox gave
swamping.
Pablo Reyes a going away present. Here's a pitching appearance for you.
Yeah, I saw that. Again, like I said, I'm glad I wasn't there. The debating back and forth I had of going down there, as much as I want to be at Fenway to see the Cubs, because most likely the next time they come around, it'll be during a weekday and I won't have tickets. But it was a good decision. I still got some stuff done, and I'm glad you got to go and enjoy that. So,
yeah, thank you for that.
Hey, you enjoyed it more than I would have.
I had a great time. And then we had the phone propped up. I watched the Celtics on my phone on the ride back.
There you
go.
We
had the Bruins on the radio.
Yeah.
It was a great Boston day. I think I saw somebody said today that they outscored their opponents combined between the three. What was it, 39 to nothing?
Yeah.
Or 39 to, yeah. They had plus 39 for a run differential for all three games.
Unreal.
So it was a good day. The next one, the biggest Astros series to this point of the season is right now. I mean, I think they came out on top this weekend, but it was the Rockies.
Yeah, they needed that to get right.
I said it last week that they're a streaky team. If they get hot, they're right back in this. Now they're facing the Guardians, who have the best record in the American League. You can come out of the series winning 2 out of 3 before you go to a division opponent. You could turn things around. But that's the question. You're facing a good Guardians team this week.
Yep.
You got to win 2 out of 3. And the pitching matchups line up to where it's Hunter Brown versus Carrasco. Carrasco hasn't impressed me, but Hunter Brown has not been good. You're looking at game 2 is Verlander and McKenzie. McKenzie's on a pitch count, it seems like, still. Yeah. Verlander, I don't know what they've done with him. He's 1-0, 10.1 innings pitched, 10 and 30 innings pitched, a 1.74 ERA, 11 Ks, and 4 walks. So he's back to being Verlander, it looks like. Yeah. So I think the Astros win that game no matter what. And then the third game, there's no starter yet. So the Astros have a very good chance to win 2 out of 3. And if they do, I think here they come. That's just
I don't know what to think of the Astros yet, but I think very much like you just said, and then last week we said that they'll get hot. They've got the bats to get hot. The biggest thing for them will be, can Verlander be a spark plug for that pitching rotation? Can he be that? Yeah, which he's 41, I believe.
He's up there. I don't know, 41. I thought he was in his 30s still.
Maybe he's 39. I may be just wishful thinking, but it's pretty impressive what he's done year in, year out. But they need that kind of veteran presence to be like, hey, look, get your shit together. Let's go and feed off each other. And they are a team that I think that could very easily struggle all April and get shit together in May. And then June, July, and August. Okay.
But they could definitely piece it all together, and they could be right back in the thick of this. I mean, nobody in that division is running away with it.
No.
So, what are they sitting? I think they actually are not almost 8 games out. Yeah, 6 games out. But they're not out of it. I mean, by any stretch of anything. Even if the division does get away, I know the Rangers have Scherzer coming back, DeGrom will be back. They're going to get their arms back. The Astros can make the wild card spot, and they could make a problem in the playoffs. They've been there. They have that's what the story is. You've been there. Experience.
Yeah.
So don't rule the Astros out. I mean, we can all, as people who don't like the Astros for that whole 2017 season, enjoy this, because they could very well get hot and be a problem.
I don't know how much you laughed, but I laughed my balls off when I sent you that little reel of that kid
Yeah.
throwing to that little mime or the little mannequin. That to me, it just goes to show that was pretty funny. A lot of people dislike that, but unfortunately, cheating, whatever they did in 2017, they're still a very talented baseball team,
Yes.
and they can do it. So it'll be interesting.
So that leads us right into the next one.
It does.
I'm gonna go with this is a bold one. This is interesting from what I've seen so far. Are the Oakland A's not as bad as everybody thought?
I
They're
enjoyed watching them against the Orioles.
they're
I
in
enjoyed
third
it.
place. And I actually wrote this down before we actually hopped on, and just from what I've seen from the season, and everybody went on about the Red Sox. Oh, congrats, you swept the A's. Nice job. They stink.
Yeah.
Well, let's go through after that series. They took 2 or 3 from the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
They split with the Yankees in 4 games.
Yep.
They took 2 or 3 from the Rangers. Also took 2 or 3 from the Tigers. Are they? They're not. I'm not saying. Well, let's hold the phone on the A's, but like
Yeah.
we all had them as they're going to lose 100 games,
So,
and they could.
good. Yep. So I saw something the other day, and I can't remember where, and I meant to send it to you, but I saw it in quick passing. And a lot of these memes are coming out right now, but like for the A's and the ownership and what they're trying to do, send them to a minor league park next year, that is just a dumpster fire. But Major League, when that owner was trying to tank to move to Miami, a lot of that stuff was showing up this past week. And what better like motivation than just F it, you know, screw management. Let's prove we're better than what we are or what people think we are and just go out and win. And their team, we've talked about Tampa Bay, that just is very kind of don't know what to think of them and confusing. But the A's always just find a way to compete. They're always either they're in a game, you can never count them out. They don't have a true, like, I guess, superstar, if you will, but they're always they're scrappy.
Yep. And none of their pitching is like impressive,
Yeah.
aside from the guy we talked about last week, Mason Miller.
Yeah.
The only guy, well, a couple other guys here, but he's got a 1.46 ERA. It's just their starters. Paul Blackburn, I think, is a nice name to watch.
Yeah.
I like watching him when he pitches. Stripling's been okay. He still can't get a win.
Mm-mm.
Sears has been all right. Alex Wood has been terrible. He's
Yeah.
almost got a 7 ERA. So, I mean, they're just, they're hanging around, but that just tells you that division. The Angels aren't that great. And the Astros, like we said, they'll get hot. They'll be fine.
They'll probably end up switching spots, but
Probably.
right now,
Well, I don't know. The A's might finish fourth the way they're going, and the Angels
yeah,
might be
well, the
last.
Angels are just I feel bad for Mike Trout and what he's doing so far and leading tied with Gunnar Henderson for the lead in home runs, but it's pretty interesting. And that A's, they're fun to watch. The A's are fun to watch. The Astros are starting slow, but they will, unless they suffer a serious injury or someone just doesn't turn it around, they are a tough one to watch. And I'm watching Tampa Bay, as we just talked about, bottom 7. They're beating the Brewers, the National League Central leading Brewers 1-0.
They're hit or miss though. They're either on or not.
Piote's pitching or whatever, however you pronounce his last name. He's the one pitching right now, but very interesting.
It looks like they went to the bullpen. I got Armstrong in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm pulling
I'm
up the
just watching
Astros
from my
because I
phone.
thought there was an injury, but I might be wrong. Thought they were missing somebody. I guess not.
What'd you think of the Mets City Connect jersey? I don't mean to extend it any longer, but what'd you think of that jersey they had?
I wasn't impressed by it.
Me neither.
I'm excited for what's coming. Detroit, I think the Tigers come out next Monday.
Yeah.
That leads us into the last one, and we'll
Yep.
skip the other one I had, and we'll talk about that in a second. I think the Race City Connect might be my favorite.
Yeah. That was pretty impressive.
I like the fact that they went back to the old Devil Rays look with
Yep.
the purple brim and the logo and everything. I like the black unis. I think that's a nice design.
Yep.
It might be in the top five for me. I don't know. I might have to sit down after they all come out this year and do a top
Take a
28.
look at them. Yeah.
The Red Sox is always in the top for me as
Yeah.
a homer because I like the yellow, I like the Boston Marathon, Patriots
Yeah.
Day meeting.
The connection.
So, all right, the last one of my thoughts. The series I actually really like right now that I want to watch this week, and it's not a series that's going to jump off the paper, everybody, but I told the story, I think the week you were actually out, and I talked about the '06 season with my grandfather and everything. And
Yep.
we get a rematch of that World Series this week with the Cardinals and the Tigers. And it was supposed to be on right now, and I would be wearing a Tigers hat. I'd have my Tigers shirt on. Like, yeah, I would have been watching that, but got rained out. They got a doubleheader tomorrow. But I like watching throwback World Series matchups. That's the one thing I do like about this whole everybody plays everybody at some point throughout the season is you get something like that. Like some point we're gonna get Red Sox Dodgers 2018
Yep.
World Series. We're gonna get throwback matchups from World Series, and I like that. So that's a series I'm excited to watch this week. I obviously won't be watching tomorrow because I'll be at Fenway, but actually I'll probably watch the first game at work. I think it's at 3:40 or something. So I'll probably watch the first game at work, and then game three I'll probably watch whenever I get home. I don't think the Bruins play. The Celtics probably are on, so I'll probably have something on my phone. But I'll
The
have the Tigers.
Bruins play tomorrow night, but
So I think they're Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I'll have the Celtics on my phone probably. I'll put the Tigers on the little TV and the Sox on the big TV, and we'll
yeah.
roll with that. But that is the last of my thoughts. And I killed
Okay.
an hour trying to not kill an hour.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff that kind of comes up, and I think that's the biggest thing here when we're talking through this is like there's so much that goes on. We can have an agenda and we stick to that agenda, but there's always going to be something that pops up, goes on throughout that just kind of pops up and makes us think about different things that we want to dive into. It's only two of us, right? And we're trying to cover as much as we can, and we can't write about everything that we talk about because we have other jobs too. So um to end it out, basically I interjected with a lot of my thoughts throughout the whole process. There was a lot of stuff you covered that kind of connected with what I thought, but I'd like to end out each week with your top prospect and the prospect of the week. So, um, who do you have there?
All right. Well, so I really said I hate last week. I hate doing two, but I couldn't eliminate a guy. So maybe I have to find a way to do this differently, whether I do three hitters of the week and three pitchers out of the top 100 or something. But I got two hitters and I got two pitchers. And I actually went away from Paul Skeens for once.
Okay.
So and that was
He
tough for
gave
me to
up
do.
his first run. So you're done with him. You're done with him.
Nah, no. He's still going to be a stud. I mean, it's just, I like what else. I wanted to avoid him. So I looked up his numbers knowing
Yep.
he still gave up one run. And I was like, I'm just not going to do him. So my hitter of the week, the first one, is I got catcher Harry Ford,
Yep.
who is the 42nd ranked prospect. He's playing for the Seattle Mariners AA affiliate, the Arkansas Travelers. This week, he went 6 for 19 in 5 games with 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 8 runs scored, 7 walks, and 2 stolen bases.
Wow.
So on the season, he's hitting 203 with a 758 OPS, 3 home runs. All those came this week.
Yep.
7 RBIs. So 6 of those came this week, and 4 stolen bases. My next one is a guy that you'll actually appreciate. The 98th ranked prospect in my top 100 until next week. I'm hoping to have all that updated.
Okay.
Is James Trientos.
Yep.
He's playing at AA for the Cubs and the Tennessee Smokies. This last week, he went 8 for 23 with 2 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases. On the season, he's hitting 288 with an 818 OPS, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases.
Yep. He's impressive.
So far, so good.
Yep.
We're going to go to the pitchers now. And the first one I have before we get really in depth is the 36th ranked prospect, right-handed pitcher Rhett Lauder, who I watched a lot at Wake Forest.
Yep.
He's pitching at High A Dayton for the Cincinnati Reds. Last week, he got the start on Geez, I really wish I wrote the date down or the day instead of the actual date. He pitched on the 26th, which was Friday.
Yep.
He got the win. Going 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, none wasn't earned, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. This season, through 4 starts, he's 1-0 with a 1.86 ERA, a 0.98 WHIP, 20 strikeouts, and 19 and a third innings pitched.
Wow.
He's going to
Yeah,
be pretty good.
he's their top pitching prospect too, so
I'm
that's
high on
great.
him. I'm
Yeah.
very high on him. The next one is another guy I think you actually wrote the player profile for. 39th ranked prospect, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's right-handed pitcher Jacob Misarowski.
Yeah.
For the Brewers, he's pitching at Double A Biloxi, and he made 2 starts this week. So in the first start on Tuesday, he went 4 1/3, gave up a hit, didn't allow a run, walked 1, and struck out 7. And then he got the ball again. Usually, if you get the ball on Tuesday, you get the ball again on Sunday. He pitched again on Sunday, going 3 2/3. Didn't allow a hit, but he gave up a run on 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. So he ended the week combining it all, 8 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 13 Ks for a 1.12 ERA and a 0.37 WHIP for the week.
He's a big boy.
He is a big boy. This season, through 5 starts, he doesn't have a decision yet with a 3.44 ERA, a 1.09 WHIP, 28 strikeouts, and 18 and a third innings pitched.
Yeah. He was one that when I wrote the write-up that I started paying a little closer attention to, and I saw one of his bullpen sessions, and I could be getting this wrong, but I think he's over 6'8", and he's a right-hand power pitcher. And that's probably why the Brewers were okay with getting rid of Corbin Burns, knowing that he probably wasn't going to re-sign anyway. But this kid is one to keep an eye on because he's going to move his way up. He'll probably pitch half the year in Biloxi and then move up to AAA and see what he's got there because he is a talented kid, throws hard, and just is a great arm for the Brewers organization. So that's a good one. He had a great week, and Rhett Lauder's another one that's to watch in the NL Central. That for the Reds, he's gonna be another good one.
I also saw, and I want to give this prospect update really quick. He's not in my top 100, but right-handed pitcher Ty Madden for the Tigers. He's in my top 10 for the Tigers. He got promoted to AAA Toledo today, and I'm trying to remember all these Tennessee guys. I was a big Tennessee baseball guy. I liked watching them the last couple of years. Drew Gilbert got promoted. I believe he's actually to the big leagues now.
Really?
For the Mets, if I remember correctly.
Christian Scott's the guy from the Mets that I'm waiting for them to pull up from Syracuse.
Making sure, but I believe he was called up today. And I saw somebody talk about, there's all these other guys from Tennessee that are waiting, and there's a lot of Tennessee talent, like Chase Dolander from he's with the Rockies organization. Maybe it wasn't Drew Gilbert. I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong. There was somebody called up from the Mets.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Gilbert, but I believe he went to Tennessee as well, but he got called up today, whether it's to AAA or to the Mets, but he got called up.
There's a lot of talent from college that's moving up more than I think probably the past 10 years. That's going to be coming, and I can't wait. Hopefully you get a chance to get that done, the updated list, top 100, so that we can maybe next week, whatever week you get it done, the following week, I'd like to have you kind of just discuss a little bit of who moved in, who dropped out, and why. Because I think that's one of the fun things, especially now with MLB being able to go and watch these minor league games. And I get yelled at in my house when I turn it on. And what's wrong with all the graphics? It doesn't look right. The TV. Why are they showing that angle? I'm like, well, this is Myrtle Beach Pelicans. The Cubs single A team. Why are we watching this? Well, I want to keep an eye on so and so, and I'm watching more baseball now, at home, and I'll turn off a major league game just to keep an eye on something else that's going. So I'm looking forward to your updates with this and kind of, seeing who moves in, who moves out, and we've had some discussion, but this prospect thing for me is one of the more exciting things to kind of keep an eye on, because I don't think a lot of major league fans, I think they focus a lot of the time on what's on the active roster and maybe missing what's to come. And that's sometimes just as exciting, because some of these people don't have a clue what's to come because of the coverage. But I think what
Mhm.
you're able to do for Inside the Diamond hopefully can be useful to these fans, so they can get a look at what's to come up the pipeline and get excited. And if they've got a chance to go to a game, to a minor league park to see some of these guys, it's well worth it. It's great baseball. It's fun to see. It's cheap, and it's exciting. So I really enjoy getting your point of view on these prospects and kind of seeing it. So looking forward to seeing what's to come with the moves in the top 100.
Well, that's the big thing is the future is the minor leagues. And so,
Yep.
like for instance, we all just saw and we didn't touch on it tonight, but Jackson Holiday just got sent back down to AAA.
Yep.
And so I think I mentioned last week when we were talking that Paul Skeens will be the soon-to-be number one.
Yep.
It ain't coming anytime soon because Holiday's not graduating.
No.
But it's a perfect example. There's a lot of talent in the minors. I'm going to the Fisher Cats next Wednesday,
Yep.
and I'll be covering that game. The reason why I circled that game, and one of the big reasons why, was I want to watch the Fisher Cats guys, but also Harrisburg is in town. And so my number 5 prospect, Dylan Cruz, is currently on the Harrisburg Senators, and I want to go see what he does. I was really hoping my ninth ranked prospect, James Wood, would be there, but he actually is at AAA. But if you got MLB TV, you got any way that you can watch it, I suggest you tune in to whether it's your team, whatever your prospects. You do a good job. We got Jamie. She does a good job. Brett does a good job. We cover. It's Down the Farm. It comes out every Monday. I want to make a
Yep.
plug for this really quick. I wish I had the
Yep.
link for it, but we do it Down the Farm every week. It comes out on Monday. So if you're not familiar, minor league schedules are Tuesday through Sunday. Mondays are all off, and so that's why we release it on Monday or early Tuesday before games start, so we can get and we cover who the AAA, AA, High A, Single A affiliates are playing, who they got coming up in the next week, and what our top 10 prospects for each team does, and how they produce, and what their numbers are for that week and for the season so far. So if you're a fan of, I do the Tigers, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays. JC does the Reds and the Cubs. Jamie does the Rangers, and Brett does the Yankees. So there's 7 teams that get minor league prospect coverage. And I'll do a plug for joining us. If you want to cover and do it down on the farm once a week, there's an opportunity right there.
Yep.
I mean, I'll do down on the farms for all 30 teams and do one coming out every half hour on a Monday.
Yeah,
I'll
we've got the
gladly.
format laid out for you, so it's pretty easy to do. It's simple, but it also gets you involved. I mean, for me, paying attention to the Cubs and the Reds, I wish I could do more, but it gives you an idea of what's to come, and it makes you end up watching more minor leagues on specific days than you would normally, and it's just more baseball. And if you love baseball, CJ's got a great format for it. He's done a lot of hard work on the top 100, and it's going to be, for me personally, I'm looking forward to as the year evolves and how that list evolves, and then working into next year. So that to me is one of the bright spots, and I look forward to doing each week.
And if you're not familiar with it, I don't know if I have the website still up here. I don't. But we had the link. It's right on the homepage. So if you go to insidethediamonds.com, in the top bar, you'll see it says Home American League National League Prospects Shop. On the drop down of the prospects, when I come out with them, it will have each month's top. And I'm hoping we can get this done, that once the season ends, it'll go to 2024. And then once 2025 hits, it'll roll into the new top 100 for the
Yeah.
next year. So, like, it will be something that's archived forever. So
Nice.
10 years from now, you want to go look back and see, I'm going to do an article, I think this probably in the next couple of weeks, where I take a look back 5 years from now, who was in the top 30 for a team on MLB.com for prospects, and where are they now?
Yep.
It's a good idea for an article, a good idea for a piece.
For anybody.
for any team, and you get to take a
Yep.
look at, where's my team, where's my favorite team at. You could even do the top 10. It doesn't have to be a top 30. I just
Yep.
know it maxes out at 30. You do the top 10. Where's my top 10 at from there to now? Honestly, if you do that, it takes a look at where your organization is in the standpoint of like your team, your top 10 prospects could have been all gone by now. They could all be somewhere else as part of trade bait and
Yep.
could be gone. And your team developed and they just trade prospects to get better. It's prospects are a fun thing to follow. And I got made fun of a couple weeks ago. I put all my baseball sweatshirts away in the closet, and once the baseball season comes, I rotate hockey and baseball sweatshirts and football sweatshirts, and I have my baseball sweatshirts all out. So I broke out my Fisher Cat sweatshirt 2 weeks ago on a Friday night, and I threw a Fisher Cats game on the TV. Being from New Hampshire, I'm a big Fisher Cats fan. I was there in 2018 when they won the Eastern League Championship. So I threw the game on. And it was funny. They were down, I forget what it was. I wrote about it too. It was like 9-1 going into like the sixth inning or whatever, and they came back and won 10-9.
Yeah.
What a great game to watch. I mean, it's good baseball, and it's young talent that you're going to see at some point. Like, for instance, I'm watching the Blue Jays game on one of my screens. Actually, it might have ended by now, but it was 5-4, and I just noticed who scored a run. It was I forget how you say his last name. Barger. He
Yeah.
uh, he was in New Hampshire last year. So there's a perfect example. Somebody who was in New Hampshire last year got called up, was at AAA Buffalo to start the year. He's in the Blue Jays now because of Kevin Kiermaier being injured. So it's somebody who's he's in my top 10 for the Blue Jays prospects. So there's always something to watch with the prospects. Always a team. If you have MLB TV, you pick your favorite team and you scroll down a couple pages and it's right there. It tells you AAA, AA, single A, high A, and you can watch all of them.
If you're a
And
baseball fan, there may not be a better value. I mean, I know the Sunday ticket's great for football, but if you're a baseball fan, for dollar per game that you can watch, there may not be a better value because you don't just get the major leagues. You get that all the affiliates. It may not be quality wise in regards to the TV quality, but you get to watch everything. It's still great. There's still commentators. The angles, you may not get all the reviews and angles that you would in a pro game, but there may not be a better value for a sports package than MLB TV when you think about all the prospects that we're discussing.
also, the other thing I wanted to touch on, and I've heard it from Paul Skeens, he was on the Pat McAfee show a week
Yep.
or two ago. Something they're trying out in the minor leagues, which they do everything, all even the pitch clock, everything that we're seeing now, they test in the minor leagues. So I've heard, and I don't understand fully how it works, but I've understood that 3 out of the 6 games a week is real umps, and they have robo umps.
Hmm.
So they're testing the robo umps out in the minor leagues. So if you want to get a test run on that, which my understanding is, it's still a normal umpire behind you, but I believe, again, this is all my understanding. So if I'm wrong, please in the comments tell me I'm wrong and explain it to me. But for 3 games at least, a batter gets to, if he doesn't agree with the call, just taps his helmet and they review it. And there's literally like you see a strike zone where they show the pitch where it went and it says that was a ball and it changes the
Yep.
call. The pitchers can do the same thing where the pitcher doesn't agree with the call and he just sits there, taps his hat, and they review it. I've watched a couple times. It's actually a really interesting thing, and I'm actually a fan of it. So that's something that, again, if you're interested to see where the game's not just the players, but the game itself and the way it's going,
And where
check
it's
it
going to
out.
be.
Right, check it out.
If you want to see when Angel Hernandez is soon to retire, as soon as this gets brought to the major leagues, you'll tap of the hat. He'll be done. There'll be no
Funny,
more Angel Hernandez.
funny you say that. So I said Saturday at the Sox game, I was sitting in the section. It was all Cubs fans around me, and every single fan, when they showed the umpires for the game, all of us snapped our heads up to the screen to look to see who was umpiring, and I heard at least 4 people say, "Please don't be Angel Hernandez."
Yeah.
So, just to give you an example, though, this is the way we're going. I mean, if you want to see it in a game, if you have MLB TV, tune in. If you don't, I don't know how it works if you select team by team because you can. There is an option to select your favorite team, but or wait till the All-Star break at the cheaper value and you can still tune into everything. But there is so much that MLB TV does offer you,
Yeah.
and I mean I'm watching Big Inning right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to do? Well, we can plug it right now if you want.
Might as well.
So right now the plan is, and I'll probably post it if it's confirmed. We're planning right now to do a watch party on Wednesday, where we're gonna watch Big Inning like this because MLB is a can't show the games, so I can't
Yeah.
show you what we're watching. But we'll talk about everything going on for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, but probably max it at 2 hours, just so
Yep.
people don't get bored of us. Um, I'm going to do it. I think MLB beginning starts at 7:30 on Wednesday. So the plan is my son's still awake, so he might make an appearance. My girlfriend might make an appearance. Your kids might make an appearance.
Yeah. Never know.
Who knows who's going to show up? But there is a plan that, as of right now, we're going to try this out. I'll make an event, I think, on Facebook. I don't know when we're going to get this out. My guess would be probably tomorrow. But
Tomorrow. Yeah.
the plan is if you're available Wednesday and you want to come watch baseball with us, we'll sit here. We'll talk about everything. I don't know how the live works, so I don't know if we'll see comments. If we do, I'll tell you. Comment.
Yep.
We'll talk. Like, we'll gladly talk. But so if you're available Wednesday night, 7:30, we'll say 7:30 to 9.
Yep.
And come tune out. Come tune in. Jeez, words. But
It happens.
yeah, so there's a
It'll
plug
be
for
fun.
that.
It'll be fun. We're gonna do that. And again, like CJ said, if you're interested in joining us, just go to the webpage, join us, and let us know what you're thinking about, or reach out to us, comment here, and or even on Facebook for Inside the Diamonds. Just reach out to us. We're looking to add to this group. Kind of excited, not nervous, but excited, anxious for Wednesday. See how that goes. And watch those games. But again, another fun episode. We try to keep it as short as we can so everyone can listen to in one short car ride. But there's so much going on with baseball, and there's only so much we can write about that it seems like as we start talking, more pops up. And we're trying to keep them shorter for you guys and produce more content. So, like, subscribe, write in the comments what you'd like to see us do, and we'll keep it up. And next episode, we'll kind of hit on the Orioles Yankees, the Braves Dodgers series, and then we'll have some more interesting content. And I'm sure Wednesday, depending on what's going on in the games, but we'll probably also have some series preview talk and just talk about different series coming up for the weekend. So, if you hear this and you're interested, you don't have much going on Wednesday, join us and see what we're all about. So, another great episode, fun to talk about.
Just to give people an idea, on Wednesday night, we're looking at 7:30. What will be going on? We'll have Red Sox Giants.
Yep.
We will have probably the end of Phillies Angels, Reds Padres. We will have the third game, which will have Corbin Burns, of Yankees Orioles. We will have Rockies Marlins, Cubs Mets, Nationals Rangers, Guardians Astros. That's the Verlander game. And we'll probably end up, no, we'll be done before then. So that's probably the last game that will start while we're on live. So if you're interested in any of those teams, you want to come talk with us, come on in.
Last thing I'll say is Ellie De La Cruz, another home run. 1-1 for the Reds and Padres right now. Yeah.
30-80.
I mean, I won't be shocked if he doesn't steal 100 bases this year. With the new base rules, his walk rate is up, strikeout rate is down. This guy is something to watch. He is electric, and I would not be shocked if he doesn't steal upwards of 80 to 100. That's something that's real this year, and he's got the power, and he's got his eye going for him right now. So another great episode, CJ. Really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do, let us know. But thanks again for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.